Hi, my friends who teach in the art room. Hope you don't mind me sending you a video again, but I think sometimes it's just easier to explain this way. And feel free to feedback about whether you find this helpful or not when I send videos your way. So you'll be in Psalm 1 again this Sunday, and along with this video, I'll be attaching a portion of the lesson for you. So you'll be talking again about that passage about being like a tree by the streams of water, but you're focusing more this time about how bad friendship can cause us to get into trouble, because that's a big part of the focus of Psalm 1. And our series on happiness is helping to teach us that good relationships help make us happy. So we're putting that at the kids' level. So they're going to be doing trees because the tree comes up in the verse. And they're going to do, there you go, put it up there where you can see it. They're going to do a tree painting where they get to have kind of like the rainbow effect of colors behind it. And it's just dramatic. But what makes this tree special is if you look at the leaves on this tree, they're made with fingerprints. And what we're going to want the kids to do is put their fingerprints on everybody else's tree. So each kid will go home with a tree with the fingerprints that are from the other kids in the class with them on Sunday, as a way to reinforce that they will be good friends to each other. So the tree painting has meaning. It has the meaning that they're like trees that are planted by streams of water, and it also has the meaning that they'll be supportive to one another as young Christians and believers in Jesus. So let me tell you how the project goes. You'll see first, when you come into the room, you'll give each one of the kids one of these template cardstocks. You'll notice that we put a tree silhouette on it. If you want to skip that with the older grades, you can, but it's also an opportunity for you to teach them that trees grow with a kind of symmetry. And each tree has its own kind of symmetry, but you can see that this is a tree where it always branches into a V, which branches into another V. And in fact, on this, if you wanted to, you could even add V's at the tips that aren't there now, if the kids wanted to. But it helps them to observe and see symmetry in nature, so take some time to talk about that. So when they paint over this, they'll still be able to see that tree underneath, and then it will help them when they apply their black paint to follow a kind of pattern and to be able to have their tree look successful. So what they're going to do is they're going to use these sponge brushes, and we've got lots of those, and they just put on like kind of one or two swipes of one color. And you'll see your colors are all prepared for you on the table back here, and you want to encourage them when they do their colors to try not to let their colors touch, because when you leave a little bit of white in between, it actually kind of adds to the dramatic effect. So encourage them to keep the colors away one from another. So they will start with painting their rainbow of colors as soon as they get into the classroom. And then you want to set that aside to dry as soon as all the kids are done with it. And then you'll stop. You don't want to do your tree until they're done with the striped portion of it. So after they've finished with all of their stripes, then give them the black paint and a fine brush. I don't have an example, but you guys know what fine brushes look like. We'll have set out a series of fine brushes and teach them to go from a fine brush to a finer to a finer, so that they can learn how to apply thin paint by going to finer brushes. And you'll also want to set out, have a mason jar for each kid to have water in so they can put their brushes into it right away. And also ask them to clean their own brushes, because we need our kids to start taking a little more responsibility for the condition of the room. Not so that it takes work away from me, but so that they feel ownership in the room and enjoy that process of feeling like they're successful at belonging to this place. So you'll be using the fine brushes to add the black after. The kind of paint you're using dries kind of fast, so hopefully you won't, it's not super fast, but it's kind of fast. I don't think you'll have trouble applying the black, even if the rainbow paints are wet. But then you need to let it dry, because you can't do the fingerprint part until it starts to get more dry. So set it aside, do your Bible portion of your lesson, And like I said, that's attached. And after you've done the Bible portion of your lesson, then using the same little paint cups that you have here, pre-made for you. These are not one each. These are like to share for a few, because we just have like four colors of each. You'll still have this left over, I'm sure, but it will start to thin out some as the class goes on. Then you'll want them to dip their finger in it and then put their fingerprints on each drawing in the classroom. So they could dip, for example, and that's fall colors, by the way. They could dip into the red and put a fingerprint on every painting in the classroom. And then the orange, and then the yellow, and eventually you'll have lots and lots of these on all the trees. And each kid will go home knowing that they have the fingerprints of their classmates on their trees to help support them in their walk with Jesus. Hope that explains it. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.